Okay, we need to solve the equation for the x variable. X has two answers. Okay, now you have the x, 1x to the second, you have x to the first, you have right here with the 9. So you're going to have to use set boxes. Okay, so we are definitely set. Now, how many boxes? It's 3 terms. So with 3 terms, we go greatest common factor. GCF is what that stands for. And then my chart. Okay, negative x, GCF, 3 things I check for. Well, I don't need the negative because that 1 right there is positive. Okay, my finger's covering up the x. There's a 1 there, positive. X, you got second, first, and nothing. Then if you GCF 1, 9, and 18, it's just going to be 1. Okay, so get rid of that. Okay, then I multiply my A and C coefficients together. 1 times 18 is 18. Now the 18 is positive on that calculator, so that is going to be an adding problem, and we're trying to get it to add to 9 positive. 1 and 18, that adds up to 19. Remember, you're dividing into the 18 divided by. Okay. After 1 comes 2. It's 9. So 2 plus 9 isn't 9, so that won't work. Now let's try 3. You get 6. Oops. Okay, 3 is with 6, and 6 plus 3 makes 9. So we have it. 9's positive. That means I have to have plus 6. Okay, and a positive up there means the signs have to be the same. Okay, so it's going to be plus 6 and plus 3. Plus 3 plus 6. Now I look at my A. My A is only 1x to the second power, so when I rewrite this with my parentheses, I start off with 1x plus 3 and 1x plus 6. Now the GCF in each one of these is 1. Okay, so we divide by 1. That's 1x plus 3, it stays. Then here the GCF's 1, so we divide by 1. That's 1x plus 6. Okay, I look up here and see if I have anything I pulled out there. I didn't. Okay, so it's equal to 0, and I have my F1 and F2 right there. So 1x plus 3 could equal 0 is one possibility, or 1x plus 6. So dot your x's and circle them. So I subtract 3. And 0 take away 3 is negative 3. And then if you don't have to divide by 1. I mean, you can, but it's not going to make a difference because it's still going to be negative 3. Then I subtract 6. 0 subtracting 6 is negative 6. And again, I have a 1. So a negative 3 and negative 6 are the two answers. Okay, my next problem, negative 8x to the power of 2 plus 40x equals 0. So we have two answers for the x variable because it's the second power. Now what method do you need to pick? Well, you got x second. You've also got x to the first. So it's, again, you have to do the set boxes because you can't put the x's together because they're the different powers. Okay, now you are set. This time there's only 2 terms. So with 2 terms, it's GCF DOPS. Okay, GCF negative x, then find the GCF. Okay, the negative we need because that 8 right there has a negative. It's negative 8, so we need to do a negative. Okay, x you got to the second, to the first, so you are going to need x to always pick the smaller power to put in your GCF. And then 8 and 40 on the GCF calculator. Let me get mine up. It's 8. I'm just showing you how to reminding you how you need to be thinking about it. 8 comma 40, I got 8. Okay. So negative 8x to the first is a GCF, so I pull that out and then put it up there and divide by it. Put a parentheses around it. Okay, now negative 8 divided by negative 8 is positive 1. And then the x to the second divided by x to the first is x to the first because you subtract the exponents. Then I take positive 40. That 40 is positive, divided by negative 8. Now I got negative 5, so I'm going to write minus 5. And then these are to the same power, so we can just get rid of those. Okay, now remember the dots, we always look at the second parentheses, 1x to the first minus 5. Is x to the second there? No, it's not. It's to the first, so I can go ahead and cross this out, and then this is all I need to do. Okay, put equals 0, and I got my F1 here and my F2 here, because I cannot rewrite this parentheses. It stays the same. Okay, get rid of your first powers. We don't want those there. So negative 8x could equal 0, or 1x minus 5 could equal 0. So dot your variables. So we divide by negative 8. If you're dividing 0 by anything, it's going to stay 0 because you really can't divide 0. So x equals 0. There's my first answer. Then I plus 5. That takes that side to 5. And I don't really need to divide by 1. Okay, so 0 and 5 are the two solutions. Okay, next problem. 3x to the power of 2 minus 4x minus 15 equals 0. Again, you have two answers. And you also got an x that is not to the second. It's to the first, so set boxes. Okay, so you are set. Okay. And you have three terms. So it's GCF table. Okay, so GCF negative, that number in front's positive. X, you got second, first, and nothing. Then 3, 4, and 15 on the GCF calculator. Give me a GCF of 1, okay? So I don't need to do that if it's just a positive 1. Okay, I take positive 3 divided by negative 15, and that gives me negative 45. Okay, so when the product's negative up there, it's a minus. We're trying to get the minus of the factors to equal to 4, which is negative. Okay, 45 divided by 1 is 45. 45 minus 1 is not 4. Okay, after 1 comes 2. I got a decimal. After 2 comes 3. Okay, I got 3 and 15, but 15 minus 3 is 12, and I don't have 12 right there. Okay, after 3 comes 4, decimal. After 4 comes 5, I got 9. Okay, so 5 and 9. Now 9 minus 5 is 4. So 4 being negative like it is means that my 9's negative. When I have a negative up there, the signs are the opposite. So minus 9 plus 5. Okay, so my A is 3x to the second. Okay, so when I make my parentheses, I'm going to start with 3x plus 5, and then 3x minus 9. Okay, now 3 and 5, the GCF is going to be 1. Okay, so divided by 1 keeps it the same, 3x plus 5. But 3 and 9, the GCF is not 1 because they can both be divided by 3. So that now becomes 1x minus 3. So F1, F2, then equals 0. Okay, so 3 times x plus 5 could equal 0, or 1 times x minus 3 could equal 0. So I dot the variables, circle them. Go to minus 5. You take 5 from 0, you end up with negative 5, but then you have to divide negative 5 by 3 now. You have to divide if it's not a 1, okay? I got negative 1.6 repeating. Okay, and then here we add 3. That's 3. And then here the multiplying number's a 1, so it would just stay at 3. Okay, negative 1.6 repeating and positive 3. Okay, next one I have 1x to the third power plus 3x to the second power minus 4x minus 12 equals 0. Well, now there's 3 answers because x is to the third power. It has 3 solutions. Okay, now you also got x to the second and x to the first, so that tells me again you're going to have to do the set boxes. Okay, are set, there's the 0. This time I have 4 terms, so it's the grouping, factor by grouping, and then dots. So grouping. Remember, you start with 2 parentheses with a plus sign, then the same thing with just lines outside. And then a big line and a smaller parentheses. Now you put a little tinier parentheses there, and that's your F1. Okay. Now in your dots box, you kind of want to space that just to the bottom right, because you got to know what parentheses to look at. You look at this one here. Okay, that's the one to look at. Okay, so you got 1x to the power of 3 plus 3x to the power of 2, and then you have negative 4x. I'm not going to put the 1 power there, minus 12. And then I see what I can divide by, but I'm only looking at 2 of them when I decide, using my negative x GCF rule. The negative, I don't need a negative here, but we need a negative here because the parenthesis starts with a negative. X, we have a here, so we take the smaller one, x second. Here we have x here, but not here, so no x. Okay, GCF out of 1 and 3 is 1. Okay, 4 and 12, it's not 1. 4 comma 12. Okay, I got 4, so we're going to divide by 4 with the negative. Okay, so whatever I put down under the lines here, is coming to the outside. It's like it goes like that. And negative 4 is like it comes like that. Okay, so 1 divided by 1 is 1. X to the third divided by x to the second. Remember, you minus the powers. That's x to the first. 3 divided by 1 is 3. And those powers cancel. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. The x stays. And then I divide negative 12. Remember, if it's minus, I divide it as a negative. Divided by negative 3, I got 4. Now, that 4 is positive. Or no, I screwed that up. It's negative 12 divided by negative 4. It's 3. 3 is positive, so it's plus 3. Now, look at what we have here. The parentheses have identical expressions inside. 1x plus 3, 1x plus 3. You don't need the first power. So I put 1x plus 3 in that little one. This and this I just put here. And that allows me to cross those off. And then I combine the 1x to the second with the negative 4. So 1x to the second minus 4. Okay, another rule for dots is x to the second power there. Yeah, this time it is to the second power. So we go x. Is the second number negative? Yep, the 4 is negative. And are the numbers perfect squares, 1 and 4? Well, yeah, they're the first two. 1 is 1 times 1. And 4 is 2 by 2. Okay, and that's your F2, and that's your F3. Now, if you want to put the F1 expression down here so you can see it all at once, that might be a good idea. just getting it from here. So I factored it. 1x plus 3 times 1x plus 2 times 1x minus 2. 1x plus 3 equals 0. 1x plus 2 could equal 0. 1x minus 2 could equal 0. So dot and circle. So we subtract 3, and that's negative 3. Since the multiplying number's a 1, we don't need it. Negative 3 would be the first solution. Then I subtract 2, and that's negative 2. Since the multiplying number's a 1, I don't need to worry about it. Negative 2 is the second solution. Okay? Then plus 2, plus 2. The multiplying number's a 1, so 2 is the third solution. Those are your 3 solutions. Okay, my next problem, I have 5x to the power of 2. Whoa, get that second power. Scribble that 2 out. That should not be there. Okay, it should just be x. I screwed the problem up because I want that just to be x. 5x to the second minus 4x minus 7 equals 0. So there's obviously 2 answers. Now that x is to the first power, okay, because that should not have been there at the beginning. So it's set boxes. Okay, so we're set. There's the 0. And we have 3 terms, so it's back to the GCF table. Okay, GCF. Negative, nope, don't need the negative. X, second here, here, but not here. Then 5, 4, and 7 have a greatest common factor of just 1. Okay, so the GCF's 1. Okay, so if the GCF's 1, we abort mission there. Now I'm going to go ABC, but I already know that that's going to fail, so I write fail. And if I write fail, I'm going to do something else with A, B, and C. 5, negative 4, and 7. And I'm going to use my quadratic formula. Okay. And on the paper, it's right here. Opposite of B, plus or minus the square root B squared minus 4AC over 2A over 2A. So the opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. And then B itself would be negative 4. Okay, then you got 4A is going to be 5. And C is going to be negative 7. Then A is going to be 5. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10. So we got 4 plus minus and 10. And now we have to figure out our square root. So I go second. And that key right there. And then double the parentheses. And there we have it. We have negative 4 to the second. Subtract a 4 in parentheses, a 5 in parentheses, and a negative 7 in parentheses. That gives me 12.48. Okay, and then away I go. I take 4 plus 12.48 equals, and then divide by 10. So it's 1.64 as my first answer, approximately. And then I take 4 minus 12.48, negative 8.48, and then divided by 10 is negative 0.84. Negative 0.84. Okay, then I get a nice little break on the next problem. 2x to the power of 2 plus 4 equals 40. I have 2 answers. Now, as far as the method goes, I have x second, but I don't have like an x to the first, so I don't need set boxes. It's x second equals and then x equals. So I go put that off to the side. So we got to get the x second by itself, so we better dot it and circle it. It's multiplied by 2, but there's a plus 4. So 40 minus 4 is 36. So now we have 2 times x to the second equals 36. Well, now we divide by 2. And then 36, and then x to the second equals whatever 36 divided by 2 is, which is 18. Okay, now how do I find the actual value of x? It means some number to the second power equals 18, but I don't see 18 in that list of numbers. So it's going to be a decimal, and I'm going to have to find it by finding the square root of 18 on a calculator. So I go second square root of 18, just of 18 though. 4.24. So 4.24 is the first solution, and then negative 4.24 would be the second. Okay, parentheses. Okay, you're either blocked or you're not. Here there's a power, so the block is on. Okay, so we need to rewrite the equation with h to the second. So I remove the parentheses, replace it with h to the second because that's what I had here. There's going to be a 2 in front of it. Now after the second, I have a plus 4 equals 22. So now it's been rewritten, and my job there is to get h to the second by itself, and then get h by itself. Okay, remember, you're also going to need a table because you got to remember that once you get down here, you have to bring back your x minus 7. Okay, so I dot my h and circle it. So I subtract 4. 22 minus 4 is 18. So 2 times h to the second power equals 18. Then I divide by 2. And h to the second power equals whatever 18 divided by 2 is, which is 9. Now, 9's a perfect square because I know that 9 is 3 times 3. So that's 3. So you could have 3 or negative 3. And dot your x, circle it. You're going to add 7. That gives you 10, and you don't need to divide by 1. Okay, 10 is one solution. Then add your 7. Negative 3 plus 7 is 4. And that's your other one, 10 and 4. Okay, now here the block is not on, so I go ahead and distribute, okay? There's only one answer then. 6 times 1x would be 6x, then put the minus operator. And then 6 times 4 is 24. Now you also have to add 5 before you write equals 23, so don't forget that. Okay, so I got to get the x by itself. I dot it and circle it first. And I got 2 operations out there that I'm going to undo at the same time. I'm going to minus 5. Then I'm going to add 24. Okay, so 23 minus 5 plus 24 is 42. So 6 times x equals 42, and then we're going to divide by 6, and 42 divided by 6 is 7, okay? So x equals 7. Don't do the square root because it's not to the second power. That's your final solution. Okay, then you got your story problem. A rocket model is launched from a height of 5 feet with an initial velocity of 80 feet per second. How many seconds does after how many seconds does the rocket land on the ground? So there's 2 units, feet and seconds. Remember the time unit's x and then feet is y. So my feet per second is 80. Now remember, the model was launched, but then it comes back down, so that's a parabola. Okay, so it's launched from 5 feet, and it winds up down here at 0 feet. Okay, so I know what to do then. I make my gravity equation, because that's why it comes back down. Blank x squared plus blank x plus blank equals y. So gravity goes here, even though it's not, this number is not in the problem. 80 feet per second goes here, and then you got 5 here. Now 0 feet is a y value because feet stands for y. Okay, 0 feet, that's me writing feet. And you just replace the y with 0. Now you have just one variable, x. Well, it's to the second power, so there are 2 different answers that it's going to have. Okay, you also got x to the first, so again, you're going to set it up using your boxes, factoring boxes. So it's set, and now you got 3 terms. So that would be GCF, and then my table. Negative x GCF. Now you are going to need the negative because that very first number is negative. So I put a negative. X set, you won't need x because 5 is without it. And then I see what it says about 16, 80, and 5. Okay, it's just spitting out 1, but the 1 is negative, so that means I actually need to go through with this, okay, and do it. Don't cross it off. So if I divide negative 16 by negative 1, it turns to 16 positive, and then I have x to the second. If you divide 80 by negative 1, it turns your 80 into a minus 80 x1, and it'll turn that 5 into a minus 5. It doesn't really change the number, it just changes the sign. So I go A, B, C, but I think we wrote fail there, so I cross that out. A is 16, B is negative 80, C is negative 5. So I use the quadratic formula. Opposite of B, plus or minus the square root, B squared minus 4AC over 2A over 2A. So the opposite of negative 80 is 80. B itself is negative 80. A is 16. And C is negative 5. Okay, now bottom my A is 16. So I got 80 plus minus 2 times 16 is 32. And then we're going to figure out our square root. Okay, so remember how we do that. Second, that's like hitting the shift key on a keyboard. Square root here, 2 parentheses, negative 80, second power, minus 4, 16, negative 5. I got 81.9897, okay? Okay, so I take the 80, I add 81.97, then I divide by 32. Okay, and I got 5.06 for the first answer. Then I take 80 minus 81.97, then divide by 32, negative 0.06. So 5.06 is the answer I'm rolling with. Okay, now my last problem is that geometry kind of problem. Rectangular maze is 20 by 25 feet. A uniform walkway is built around the maze. It means it's the same on every side. If the allowed area is 924 square feet, how wide is the walkway? Now remember the area, I make an equation of that based on the length times the width, okay, to solve for the x. So the length I know is 2x plus 20. Meanwhile, the width is 2x plus 25. Okay, so first I distribute my 2x. Okay, so 2x is distributed twice. It's being distributed to the other 2x into 25. Okay, and that's been distributed. Now I distribute the 20 to the same two terms. Okay, 1, 1, 1, nothing, nothing, 1, nothing. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then for the x's, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 times 25 is 50, and then just the x to the first power. 20 times 2 is 40 with the x to the first, and then 20 times 25 is 500. So I need to simplify that mess a little bit by arranging my like terms. So x second, I got 4. X 40 plus 50 plus 40 is 90, and then we got 500. Okay, so I line that up here. So we got 4x to the second plus 90x plus 500. Okay, now it's not a story problem. Okay, so there's two answers. And you also got the x to the first power in the equation. So you got it to solve it. You're going to have to use your set and then factor the equation using your boxes. But you're not set. Okay, so you have to set this yourself. And x, you got 4 for x squared, you got 90 for x. Now these two have to be combined, but they're on different sides. So you're going to minus, but remember, you need to have your 0 here, so you want to take away your 24, because then that gives you 0 on that side. 924 minus 924 is 0. And then I minus 924 from 500. It's like you're balancing the equation. I got negative 424. Okay, so I can now see my three terms, and it's GCF and table. Okay, GCF, negative x GCF. So we won't need the negative. X here, here, not here. And then I find 490 and 424, what the GCF is. Okay, so I got 2, so I definitely want to divide everything by 2. So that becomes 2x to the second. 90 divided by 2 is 45x. And then negative 424 divided by 2 is negative 212. Okay. Okay, then A, B, C. I didn't write fail on this one, so we need to go through with this. So I take 2 times negative 212, and I got negative 424. Okay, so we're going to minus, and we're trying to minus to get this equal to 45, which is positive. Now, 1 and 424 doesn't do that, okay? Now, after 1 comes 2, so divide 424 by 2, you get 212. But 212 minus 2 is not 45. Now, divide 424 by 3. Nope. By 4. Okay, I got 4 and 106. But 106 minus 4 is not 45. 5 is a decimal. 6 is a decimal. 7, no. 8. Okay, I got 8 and 53. Let's take 53 minus 8 and see if that's 45. Yep, it is. So it's that. So you got plus 45, so you're going to have plus 53. And we got a negative, so the signs have to be the opposite. Minus 8 plus 53. So my a up there is now 2x to the second. It's not 4. When you use this box, you need to look at the a as being 2x to the second. Okay, so then I do my thing here. I'm going to go 2x minus 8 and 2x plus 53. Okay, 2 and 8, the GCF between 2 and 8 is 2. So I divide by 2, and that's now 1x minus 4. 2 and 53. The GCF's 1. So divide by 1, that's going to stay the same. So 2x plus 53. Now you did have this 2 out here. Again, this has been rewritten. This trinomial, these 3 terms are now have become this. And then the 2 here goes here. But since it doesn't have a x with it, I don't label it f. The f1 and f2 are right here. So 1x minus 4 equals 0, or 2x plus 53 equals 0. So I dot my x's, so I plus 4, and that's 4. Now you don't really need to divide by 1. 4 will work as an answer. Now here I minus 53. Now if I subtract a 53 from 0, now I'm at negative 53. And then I divide by 2. You have to divide here because it's a 2. So negative 53 divided by 2 is negative 26.5. And I'm definitely going to want to put 4 as the actual answer, 4 feet.